Hey there everyone, it's Scurvy back again with another episode of Scurvy Shit List. I've had quite a bit of rum tonight, so you know what that means. A good old-fashioned roast. And today, we have Tim Pool, Beanie Boi, as I like to call him. Beanie Boi and or Doe Eyes. Because, oh boy, does he have the look of a BTS singer in terms of how soft his face looks. He doesn't really have much of a chin either, although I'm not going to steal iDubbbz on that bit. But I don't know, like, he's trying to grow in the facial hair to look at least a little bit masculine, but I'm not really buying it. I have a feeling I have a feeling he asked Scott Tenorman for some pubes, and then he dyed it black, and just, crazy glued it on his face. And so now it will never come off. That's what that's reminding me of. Who knew that Tim went all the way down to Colorado? But that's besides the point. Not only is he a doughboy, but his show. Let's get into a little bit on his show. All right. I don't want it to just be roasting his physical appearance. His show is also quite boring. How? It's nothing but ass kissery and simping. There's a reason why Chronic calls Timcast IRL Simpcast IRL, because this is what Tim does almost every single fucking show. Oh, wow, I agree with you. Allow me to kiss your cheeks, senpai. Oh, that was a good point you made. Can you lower your pants down a little bit there, bud? He's really good at kissing ass. I'll give him that. Because I don't think he has the capacity to make his guests feel like challenged. I think they're just there to promote whatever shit that they have. And Tim is just like, oh yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. And I have a feeling this is how he tries to get his guests on a show. I have a feeling this is the picture he emails the people he wants on. He's like, oh, please be on Timcast IRL. I need the views. I need the money. I promise that I'll show whatever shit you're spewing, and I'll kiss your ass really nicely. Please come on the show. Yeah, I bet that's what he's like. And I have a feeling not only is there a picture, but there's also a video message of him doing exactly that. I could be completely wrong on that entirely, but Scurvy's headcanon, it's probably the right canon anyways. Let's take a look. What do we have next? So, here we have the beta boy in his natural habitat, doing a position that might make him look cool to some unobserved female. As you can see, the wild Tim Pool is looking at his, I don't want to say that, but he's certainly looking at something. Yeah. We'll leave it at that. I don't want this video getting taken down by YouTube. So, he tries to look cool in this picture. It's like, oh, he might actually look kind of decent in this one. But, as you could see, in this next picture I have up here, does he even lift? Now, if you take a look at Scurvy IRL, which means you'll never be able to, like, I know I look a little lanky too, but at least I lift. I bet this guy can't even lift like 2 5-pound weights in his arms. Meanwhile, Scurvy lifts 60s in each of his arms. So, Mr. Tim Pool, Mr. Simpcast IRL, this is how you plan on rolling up to your podcast? It's like, oh, wow, my arms look lovely today. I just curled 5 pounds at each arm. I'm so accomplished at the gym. no wonder why people think you look like a twink, because you are a twink. At least you have a little, I'll give you some credit, you have a little bit of a trapezius right here. But mine's bigger. Mine is bigger. Like, no doubt you mog your guest in terms of the trapezius. But he mogs you on everything else. Like, and even then, it looks a little baggy. And then also for his arms, you know, they're covered by something. But it's like, his arms look bigger, even just by the shoulders. Like, Tim has to, like, purposely, like, stretch out his arms to make it look like he has broad shoulders. Now, he doesn't really have all that, all those broad shoulders. Neither does his guest. But at least his guest's arm looks kind of big. Like, probably at least does some legs, too. Tim, that looks a lot like cellulite and not really leg muscle. So there's that. But last but not least, it seems like Tim was given a little gift here from almost 2 years ago. This beanie right here. I like to dub this color the cuck color, because it's the color of one of his guests' beard. You have the bleached over here, and you have the grayish brown over here. The true color of a cuck. Now, I'll get into that guest of his a little later, but Beanie Boi here has been involved in plenty other scandals aside from him getting this new beanie. But anyways, I think that's enough roasting him. I don't want this to go on for too long. There's other parts of Sober Scurvy you probably want to listen to more. So with that, time for me to go over my very brief history with Tim Pool. Before I get started talking about some of the scandals he's been involved in, I'm mainly going to be focusing on 2 of them, but I might reference a third. I do want to go over my very brief history with the guy. I mean, I don't know him personally. I don't know any people in this series personally, but I was familiar with his stuff and I was made aware of his stuff at around like 2018. So that's like my freshman year of college. Basically, he was just a name to me. I thought he was conservative, and so it's like, I didn't really pay much attention to him. I didn't really watch a lot of political content back in 2018. I also liked his appearance on Joe Rogan. I thought he owned that Twitter employee pretty good. She's probably not working for Twitter anymore since Elon took over, but that's besides the point. I think he articulated his points about why Twitter is such a shithole of a platform. At the time, it's certainly gotten a lot better. I mean, I'm not going to come back to it. Non sequiturs aside, I just thought he was just another political commentator trying to get some views and all that, and so he didn't really bother me much. But it wasn't until around 2021 when he platformed a certain somebody. So my biggest criticism of Timcast IRL would have to be that Tim does not really know how to vet his guests. Like, he just lets them come on a show and just shill whatever shit they want without really doing any prior research. I think the most notable instance of this would have to be the Jack Murphy scandal that happened back in 2021. For those of you who don't know, Jack Murphy is your typical pickup roach and quote-unquote masculinity coach. He runs something called the Liminal Order, or as Cuckold Simulator calls it, the Seminal Order. And his whole gist is, yeah, bro, I'm a masculine man. I'm going to teach you how to be a masculine man too, so you're not a cuck like me. Oh boy. When Chronic and the Warband want to take someone down, they will always find a way. And so Chronic sent forth Manic the Manic Mechanic to dig up as much dirt as he could on Jack Murphy, because Chronic was like, something isn't right with this guy. And wouldn't you know, something was not right with that guy. Turns out there are videos of him riding, let's be frank, I hate playing around YouTube censor, so I'm not going to do it. He was riding a dildo while jerking off while he was broadcasting on Chatterbait. You think he's a pillar of masculinity when he's doing shit like that? And that's not even the cherry on top of the shit sundae. Turns out he wrote some articles about cuckolding and getting cucked, and the fact that he lets his wife sleep around with other guys, and the fact that he writes it and I think kind of talked about it so nonchalantly was like, it's a good laugh to be sure. And it just instantly exposed him as a fraud. Hell, that's not even the guy's name. Jack Murphy isn't his real name. It's like something Goldman, something Jewish like that. Yeah, that's the Jack Murphy scandal. This scandal happened a few months back, and it involved a woman named Eliza Blue. Basically, she was working with an organization that's all about, like, preventing human trafficking. Noble, right? But as more people started to investigate her claim that she was a trafficking victim herself, people started to find a lot of bullshit. And I mean a lot of bullshit. The two most prominent people in the search for this bullshit would have to be Brittany Venti and The Quartering. Brittany Venti is still banned on Twitter because of this. Turns out Eliza Blue has some connections with Elon Musk, and she wasn't really willing to divulge too much about it, except for the positive part on Ben Shapiro's podcast, The Ben Shapiro Show. And while the cause of getting rid of a lot of skeezy shit on Twitter is a good thing, the fact of the matter is, she is not a trafficking victim. What happened was that she consentfully signed a form to be in a rapper's music video for World Star Hip Hop. When information got out about this, there's a reason why the rapper and World Star Hip Hop were ready to take legal action. The reason why she didn't directly say that, oh, this is for World Star Hip Hop and the rapper who I forget the name of personally, she didn't want legal action to happen. But turns out it happened anyways, because information gets out, people will do their digging, and they will find something. So, how did Tim Pool react to both of these scandals? Well, I'll tell you. He just went, la 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 la, I'm not listening, la 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 la, I'm still gonna host Jack Murphy, la 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 la. Although, he was a lot better about not hosting Eliza Blue again after all this, because, let's be real, somebody getting exposed for being a cuck is not as serious compared to somebody basically faking being trafficked. It really goes to show that Tim Pool does not know how to vet his guests, and that he's gonna continue making that mistake in the near future. If I were to make a prediction, I would say the end of this year, because that seems to be when all the Timcast scandals happen, is the end of the year, not the beginning of the year. But wouldn't you know, his inability to vet people also is applicable to the workplace. So last year in October, what happened was there was a big fight between Tim and his co-host Adam. I forget his last name, so I'll just call him Adam here. And it was basically over this one girl named Lydia, who was also an employee of Tim at the time of recording this. There was accusations of Tim basically cheating on his girlfriend with this Lydia chick, and I think this Lydia chick was with Adam. It's complicated and it's a mess. What's more important to this point right here is that Tim was not able to make a good hiring decision because, wouldn't you know, Lydia was a manipulative bitch. Around the time this was all happening, Lydia was practically the new co-host of Timcast, and Adam got pretty pissed about that. I wonder how she got to be in the position where she's at. Surely she didn't sleep her way to the top. No, it can't be that. There's meritocracy at Timcast, I think. I'll let you come to your own conclusion on that one. But the last thing I want to talk about in this section as a whole is that he is very much into fence sitting. As a matter of fact, Tim has the fence shoved so far up his ass, that's all he does for basically an entire show now. And I would understand the need to, like, be the more neutral party if you had two people involved and you were the host and those two people had opposing views. you'd want to try to remain somewhat neutral so you could be a good moderator, but anything aside from that, it's like there's no reason to be in the middle of everything. Like, you could be a bit more vocal about your opinions, and I think people might actually like the show more, especially if you just have one person on there. That's where you can get into one-on-one debates, and you don't have to be the neutral one. You could actually have a side. Now let's get to the reason why Beanie Boi is on my shit list to begin with. So, why is Tim Pool on my shit list? Well, it's pretty simple. He's a fence-sitting simp who keeps getting himself involved with shitty guests, frauds, grifters, you know the like. From Jack Murphy in 2021 to Eliza Blue in 2022, what's 2023 gonna hold? I hope it's something even crazier, and so this video can stand the test of time. Well, let's see who's gonna be next on the shit list. Phew, that was quite the ride. A lot of good roasts, I'll tell you what. Let's see who else is gonna be on the shit list. This one is going to be interesting. He's neither a lolcow or a pickup artist roach. But I think this one is going to be someone I have a bit more of a personal beef with. Well, hope you're looking forward to it.